Hi, my name is Angel Cox, and I will be discussing Christian worldview and psychopathology. Oxford Dictionary definition of psychopathology is the study of mental health disorders. From a Christian worldview, there's a deeper understanding that can be gained through the research founded from psychopathology. Richard Bertman and Mark Yarhouse approach psychopathology in a different manner. They view it as a study of calamity of the soul. These two authors essentially studied psychopathology, and they studied it in a manner that it is the calamity of someone's soul and not just their mind. So rather than focusing on the mind and the emotions of a person, they're thinking about how the entire being of a person encompasses who they are in their psyche and in their emotions and their mental health. They view the soul as parts of a man, physical, all of these parts of a man, which can be physical, emotional, and spiritual, rather than just limiting it to their mind. I like this approach. Rather than focusing on the dysfunction of the mind, they take into the account the overall well-being of a human. I think it's so important to think about how someone's well-being can be encompassed through even the physical aspects of them, because their physical well-being can also play a role in how they mentally feel, and how they mentally feel can play a role in how they physically feel. And that all encompasses who we are as human beings, and all play a role in how the psychopathology of a person can be. The Greek word for psyche is psyche. It means breath and spirit. It too encompasses the fullness of an individual, and also supports Burton and Yarhouse's theory. When considering abnormality, I think about Psalms 139:14. And this scripture speaks about, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. I think it's so important for us to remember that from a Christian worldview, God obligates us to follow the word. And in his word, he says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And to know that means that there's no flaw and there's no abnormality within us. And I think it's so important for us to remember that Jesus walked with people who were quote unquote sick and quote unquote pushed away from society. They were abnormal, and they were not seen as acceptable to be within a community of people. And so I think God also challenges us to be that way with others, is to accept them and to not push them away because of what we see in our society as an abnormality. Christ walked with the abnormal people and still yet chose to heal, love, and be among them. It's a standard that the world views them as abnormal, but Christ sees us as worth it. Christ sees us as worth it to love, even though we may feel like parts of us may be abnormal. As Christians, we are commanded to love, whether normal or abnormal. Unfortunately, the stigma of mental health disorders are hidden and frowned upon and are seen as abnormal. To this day, even though we are in a progressive state in 2022, I do feel like mental health disorders are still silenced in certain communities and certain cultures. Social abnormalities are praised, however. Mental health abnormalities are seen as deficiencies and negative. I think that sometimes we can be very selective as a society into what we allow and what we support and what we feel like is normal. Social abnormalities versus mental health abnormalities are seen as, I think they're viewed differently and accepted differently. So just understanding, I think the worldview and the Christian worldview, I think was really important. And I definitely learned a lot from this week's study.